Heathen kind of felt right in as much as it was about the unilluminated mind. It was an idea, a feeling, a sense of what 21st century man might become if he's not already. Somebody who's lowered his standards spiritually, intellectually, morally, whatever. There's a kind of someone who's not even bothered searching for a spiritual life anymore. This is completely existing on a materialistic plane. So, but just using the word heathen is kind of less preachy than explaining all that. Because if you wrote all that on the front of an album cover, nobody would bother buying it, would they? I actually have been talking with Tony about recording this album for, it's got to be nearly 4 years now. But it really never felt right for me to do it. I was dead scared in my head that we'd try and recreate what we'd been doing in the late 70s, early 80s. You know, I didn't want to copy anything that we'd done. I know Tony's got a certain sensibility and a certain kind of aesthetic that I'm very comfortable with when I'm working with him. But I really didn't want to tarnish the work that we'd done before, because it was so good and people have got such a great feeling about the work that we've done before. So it was really waiting until I found songs that were the right weight for the two of us to do together, that didn't require engineering the past or mining it for particular kinds of sounds and whatever. And about January of last year I started writing a weight of song that I really felt happy with, and I thought, this is the kind of thing that I can do with Tony. I now think it might be one of the better albums I've done. Oh, what's the cliche? It's the best album he's done since Scary Monsters. Well, I don't know about that, but it's a really good album. I think it'll translate very well on stage. I'm really excited about making it a stage album. I'll be doing shows later next month. Can't remember which month. Shortly, anyway. I'll be doing stage shows shortly. And featuring a lot of songs from this album. I'm fully prepared to bore the pants off anybody who cares to listen at the shows. From one song to another, occasionally different people would come and play. Carlos Alomar worked on one of the songs, Everyone Says Hi. Pete Townsend worked on Slow Burn. David Grohl worked on the Neil Young song, Waiting for You. And the rest of the guitar work was done by David Torn, or myself, or Jerry Leonard, who's a really excellent New York guitar player. I played an awful lot on this album, and with absolutely no intentions to play much on it. I'd get up really early in the morning, around 6 in the morning, and I'd be in the studio before anybody else was even born. It was that early. How early in the morning was it, David? And I'd sit there with the keyboards and I'd figure out all these different sounds and kind of, yeah, I like that string sound, and I'll combine it with a bit of that. A lot of it was presets that the factory actually builds into the synthesizers, because I couldn't be bothered to change the sounds and program myself. So I just picked what I could find. I hate my singing voice. I hate singing, really. It's not an enjoyment. I mean, someone's got to do it. I like interpreting songs. I guess that's what it is about the whole process. I like writing, firstly and foremostly. I would give my right arm, maybe not my right arm, I would give somebody's right arm if I could find somebody to sing all my songs for me. I really would. I'm not. It would be great to say, here's your next 7, you know. But you know, I guess it comes with the territory when you're a singer-songwriter. Well, I do the writing bit, but I've stopped doing the singing bit, so I usually mime.
Pinups was
Slip Away. That's actually one of my favourite songs on the album, is Slip Away. In the late 70s, there was a character on New York television, one of these funny stations, cable I suppose, like, I don't know, 80s, 88 or so, 88, that'll be it. Station 88, or whatever it was. And obviously in New Jersey somewhere. And it was this guy, Uncle Floyd. Vinny, I can't remember his last name, but his first name is Vinny, his real name. Uncle Floyd, and he, I think he operated out of his living room in New Jersey somewhere. And all his mates up and down the block would come in and bring their guitars and funny noses, and it was supposed to be a children's show. And it was just hysterical, kind of like, he was like the halfway between Soupy Sales and Pee Wee Herman. It was like he was the missing link. He was absolutely fantastic. And me and everybody I knew at that time would rush home around 5 o'clock in the afternoon to go and make sure we didn't miss the Uncle Floyd show, and we'd just be on the floor. There were so many innuendos and double entendres. It was just the most wonderful show. The last song that I chose to sing that wasn't mine was by the Legendary Stardust Cowboy, who was a stablemate of mine in 1968-69 on Mercury Records. One of the executives at Mercury took me one side. He said, "Psst, David, you like weird stuff, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, I love weird stuff." He said, "Play these." He gave me this bunch of 3 singles by this Mercury artist, the Legendary Stardust Cowboy, that they really had no clue what to do with him. It was the sort of the, God, talk about Heathen. This sound was like something emitting from the bowels of the earth. I mean, it was like nothing I'd heard before. I loved it. I thought the guy was a genius, a stone-cold genius. And it didn't surprise me at all when he went on laughing and everybody laughed at him. The poor guy just shuffled off, heartbroken. But it was a real pioneering sound. I loved him so much I bought the company. I loved him so much that I nicked his last name for Ziggy Stardust. That's where Stardust came from. Years later, like last Thursday, I was on the internet and I got to his site. He's got a 2-page site on the internet. And he says 2 things that, the first thing I thought was really funny. He said, "My biggest regret is that my father never lived to see my success," which I thought was wonderful. And the second thing he said, which I thought was actually equally not funny for me, he said, "That Englishman, David Bowie, he stole my name for his Ziggy Stardust character, and I think he should do some songs of mine. He owes me." And I felt so guilty, and I thought, yeah, I should. I really should. Funnily enough, we started out doing an ad for the album, and what we did, we chose to do slow burn. So I kind of did a storyboard as a thing. I had in my mind the idea of some kind of my usual same 4 subjects: fear, isolation, abandonment, and what's the other one? Well, one of your own choice there. So what?
betrayal.
Betrayal, there's a good one. Actually, no, not betrayal, not even revenge. I mean, it doesn't get very angry, my stuff. Nail biting, that's what it is. And I've got. I don't really want to give it away because it's so cute on its own. I don't know. There's something very domestic about it. It's domestic science fiction. It's very cute. It's got a good punchline in the end, and the shoot went so well that I believe we might have made a video's worth of stuff out of it. All shooting from the hip, because after we'd shot the storyboard per se, as the ad required, there was nothing else left to shoot, so we just made up stuff. Which is how we used to do it in the early 70s. There was none of this, you know, it's $1 a second, and that's cheap. It was good shooting from the hip like that. I enjoyed that. I hate making videos. It's really boring.